hot jokes only.
That sounded like the beginning of a page for an ad. Hot jokes only. I like it.
So you better click off this page. If you don't got any, if you don't want to hear no hot jokes, then you gotta get out of here.
But if you do want to hear hot jokes, you should also probably get out of here.
Because, oh God, it's so warm in Jake's closet. Oh God, he's sweating.
Please, it's so hot, I'm gonna get naked. It wouldn't be the first time I recorded naked.
Not again.
Is that a microphone in Jake's hand, or is he just happy to see us?
Both, I think. Anyway, hello and welcome back. We're the Tough Cut Podcast. I'm Matthew.
I am Alex.
I'm Jake.
And this is episode 30, part 4 of our big movie bracket. And coming at you today, we've got Pacific Rim versus Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Big robot, big meatball. But before that, what do we do in these finals?
We do honorable mentions, my guy. We hook up our audience with the exclusive feature of being featured in an episode of the podcast that brings things to the cultural zeitgeist.
And we don't give them any credit. It's all our credit for their honorable mentions. Sneaky,
You know what's
sneaky.
crazy? You know those like everything great about / everything wrong about videos on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one randomly that popped up that was posted 2 days ago about Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Damn.
And it's just
That's
wild
so
how much
wild.
that happens on this show. Because I don't remember anyone else talking about Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or why that would be brought up, but it did. You know how many movies there are in the world? 2.
I think part of it is that we're just on the pulse of culture. The other part is internet algorithms spying on your search history.
No.
That's why this episode is sponsored by NordVPN. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Our
but-
real sponsor is...
But NordVPN sponsor us.
They're not going to fucking do that.
Hey, don't be so pessimistic, all right? Just because we're sponsored by Shave My Balls doesn't mean that NordVPN would be away from us.
So we want to hop into these honorable mentions, that is. Also, we're going to, I don't know, probably spoil some movies.
Yeah. Spoiler warning ahead. I will spoil 3 movies today. That's my goal.
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys have goals today.
I feel like it's funny doing spoiler warnings for honorable mentions because we're not saying what movies we're spoiling when we say the spoiler warning. So we're just like, spoiler warning for all movies. Anything could be spoiled. The whole...
Well, they know we're not going to spoil Little Women because it's not a big movie.
Yeah, or
That's
Chicken
true,
Little.
but because the little women are little, does that make something else in the movie big?
Timothy Chalamet.
We saw that in a couple of these honorable mentions. Movies were pitched that are small movies.
No, y'all got creative, and it's like I'm proud of y'all for this. I fuck with our audience. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it. These 2 were afraid. I'm not afraid.
Yeah, audience, you just gotta back off. You're not allowed to be funnier than us. And that is a threat.
He means that. He just pulled out a knife. Y'all can't see.
All right.
Well, let's start with some of our honorable mentions. Yeah.
Let's do it. Jake, kick us off.
One right off the bat that I know that someone else put, Big Fish. I was very close to picking Big Fish, man. Ewan McGregor. Fucking love that dude.
Is that the one with the killer whale? Is that Big Fish?
Free Willy?
No, that's Blackfish. Never mind.
Blackfish. Well, it's crazy because Big Fish is about all those tall tales and Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
It's not about Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi's in it.
He's the guy that, like, he is... Wasn't it with his son? He's like trying to reconnect with him, and he has all these stories, and he's like, "Dad, there's no way those can be true." And then we slowly find out over the course of the movie that maybe they are.
Hell yeah.
I think that's the
That is
plot.
a good explanation of that movie. Too bad we're not put in the bracket. I just think it's such a fun little like movie about tall tales, and it feels like, you know, little fantasy movie in a little real movie. And I like it.
Love a good movie that's about storytelling. I feel like stories that are about storytelling is such like a good narrative for me.
Yeah. Well, do you have an honorable mention over there, Alex?
Yeah, I can do one. Let's just open up my little notebook here. a movie that I have not seen in a really long time, but that I remember being good, and people talk about it like it's good. Iron Giant.
Right.
I was pretty close to picking it, even though I don't have a very strong connection to it and don't really remember it that well.
Hasn't stopped you in the past.
Hasn't stopped me in the past.
Hasn't stopped you either in the past. Hasn't stopped me either in the past.
And I think it's a good movie.
I think so
I
too.
think it is. I'm doubling down on that.
I also haven't seen it in years, but I stand by it.
I saw Ready Player One, and it's basically the same thing. So
yeah,
I feel like that's not the case.
He's in
Iron
it.
Giant's
I know
in
there's
that
a big
movie.
robot in Ready Player One because I read the book.
No,
I
it's
didn't like it.
Iron Giant's in
in the
movie.
film adaptation. It's not the Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Much
Yeah.
like they have Tracer in the film adaptation.
Instead of Voltron.
You say that so menacingly.
Don't read the sequel, okay? Audience, don't fucking do it.
This is a stand against Ready Player One.
I really enjoyed the first novel, and then the second
I
one
hated
is
it.
really bad. I was also 13 when I read it, so
Freshly bar mitzvahed.
I mean, I liked the story. For
Mhm.
me, it's the fact that the author decided to dive really hard into leet speak and be like, this is what's going to be cool and popular in 30 years or whatever. It killed me.
yeah. But I thought that was rad because I was a
You were
13-year-old gamer. I was probably maybe a little bit older than that. I don't remember. It might be why the second one reflected so poorly. Either way, one of my honorable
Let's just
mentions.
talk about Ready Player One, guys. Fuck it.
Yeah,
This
we're
is the-
actually surprised
This
we're
is
going to
the
break
Ready
down the
Player
sequel
podcast.
and why it's awful and highly problematic. So, a little one.
No little ones. This is a big bracket.
Damn. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let me
Pick a
start
different
over.
one.
A big one.
Nice.
It's highly topical to 2021. And the short squeeze we saw in the markets. The Big Short.
Ah.
It has big in the title. And I really like this movie. I don't know. And
I had to watch that for a social problems class. It wasn't my favorite, I'll say it. But it's also probably because I couldn't understand it.
Did you also take the class called Social Problems? I took that my freshman year.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
teacher was
I
just
took it
this
my
guy.
freshman year.
I have no idea what his name is, but he was always outside the building smoking cigarettes, and then he would come in and just talk crazy shit at us for an hour, and then the class
No,
ended.
it literally was the same thing. And I mean, mine, I don't know if it was the exact same. He was the stereotypical, always had a button-up shirt, but one side was tucked in, and he always
Yes.
brought in a briefcase.
Yes,
Yeah, I was like, wow, this really is college. They weren't lying.
it was very
And
funny.
he made us do quizzes, and no one else caught on to this. I know because I looked around, but every single answer was A every single time for the whole semester.
my man straight up didn't give a shit.
Matt, sorry we didn't talk about The Big Short. It's because I haven't seen that movie.
Nah, you're
I
good.
have another honorable mention. Little Shop of Horrors.
It's little.
Bop shoo bop.
Big Plant.
Oh, come on. The shop is little.
It gets big. The shop is little, but the
Oh.
plant
He
is
said,
big.
come on. That was so cute. Matthew was so disappointed. Oh, come on.
Little Shop makes Big Plant look bigger.
I haven't seen that movie, Alex, so I'm going to pitch my own honorable mention.
I don't get honorable mentions anymore.
Battle of the honorable mentions.
Yeah, well, this
Well,
just
Jake, we have to wait until one of our honorable mentions is a movie you haven't seen, and then you can pitch honorable mentions too.
I'll see y'all in an hour.
Sunshine, where
Ooh.
the sun is
Yeah.
dying, and they send a team to go fix it. I just have a super special spot for this movie. This was one I was very close to putting in the bracket, but didn't have the space for it.
So that movie has a song in it, a piece of music that's used a lot in trailers and was used in one of my favorite trailers, X-Men Days of Future Past. And
Yes.
I memorized that trailer, the things they do. And in my head, randomly, I'll hear Sunshine, the music. And I'll be like, I don't want your suffering. I don't want your future. And that's
Yeah.
X-Men Days of Future Past. Spoiled that movie for you. Spoiled. All right. That's one of my three.
Yeah, the song is Adagio in D minor, I believe.
Yeah.
Very good.
Beautiful, beautiful.
That movie reminds me of another movie that wasn't on my list, but I think it could have been. Armageddon, the Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck, Steve Buscemi.
Train
they're
farmers
oil riggers
to go to space. Oil riggers.
They're oil riggers that go up to destroy an asteroid from the inside. Fucking sick. Great movie.
Which
we didn't do enough space movies.
I've never seen the movie, but my favorite retort with that is why they didn't just train astronauts to do the mining rather than training the mining people to be astronauts.
They explicitly state in the movie it's easier to train an oil rigger to go into space than it is to train an astronaut to dig for oil.
Yeah, I'm sure that makes sense to me.
Training our billionaires to go mine in space far away from here. Anyway, literally the movie Big. It's a classic. Tom Hanks, man.
Does he? He gets raped by that woman.
Oh,
technically,
Jesus.
right? Because isn't he a young boy that becomes a full-grown man, and that woman sleeps with him?
You made this take a dark turn.
I can't remember if they actually have sex or not.
I think it's like wink, wink. I'm a 1988 movie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There are a lot of issues like that in 80s movies.
Yeah, well, a lot of people like that movie.
Sorry, I might be wrong. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong, audience.
Yeehaw. They got a fun piano scene. It's real fun. It's a big piano. It takes two people to play it.
Wow, this the tone of this is
Matthew kills the energy.
Oh God. Oh no. It was initially released in Argentina. Fun fact.
Jake, do you have another honorable mention that rhymes with Mig?
I do. Well, it doesn't rhyme, but it's very similar to Mig. The Meg, a big shark, and I think it's better than Jaws. Jason Statham, underwater.
Those are literal fighting words.
He said the Meg.
I watched it on a plane. It was pretty fun. I might have slept through part of it. I truly don't remember.
I think the funniest thing that came out of that movie was like the trailer at the end showed like a person floating in water and then the shark like under it. And someone tweeted it on Twitter to be like, what would you do in this situation? And someone responded, die? What the fuck? Like, what do you want me to do here? And then someone's like, nah, a real dude like me is not dying here. Like, yeah, wild. We should get into some fan honorable mentions.
Yeah,
again, you guys were funny, and I'll say it. You guys were funny. But let's do not the funny ones. Okay, so
I'll get into one. So I did a lot of research for the bracket this time. I was really undecided on a lot of my movies. Audience, you may know, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs has made it to the finals, but it originally was not the pick that I was going to put in this bracket. Originally, I was going to pick a movie that someone pitched to us as an honorable mention, Monsters vs. Aliens. In my prep for this bracket, I watched Monsters vs. Aliens, and it is a bad movie. So while some of these picks are very good for the big bracket, audience member who pitched this one, bad job.
Okay. Speaking of that, though, so many people pitched My Big Fat Greek Wedding and Big Lebowski. Those are both films that I don't necessarily enjoy as much as I think other people do.
Oh,
okay. I love My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And I bet Matt was about to say he loves Big Lebowski.
Yeah. Well, I just don't remember liking them. Like, I don't have the itch to watch them like other people do. And I think for both of them, like, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, I just, like, don't remember it. But, like, Big Lebowski is so, like, indoctrinated in, like, film people and, like, other people, like, really love it that I'm like, I don't think I saw the same. Like, people make the dude their personality. And I'm like, I don't know about all that, man. It might be for a similar reason why I hate Mad Max Fury Road. I don't know, but
wow, I didn't know.
I'm glad you guys like those movies. Maybe I should rewatch them. Honestly, maybe guys, everyone who did those as honorable mentions, you've inspired me to rewatch those movies.
Speaking of the audience member that said Monsters vs. Aliens, you're a bad audience member because another movie you pitched as an honorable mention, and that is Transformers: Age of Extinction. Yes,
Good pick.
the robots are big. However,
I thought they picked it because big plot holes.
I legitimately, that movie is so bad. I legitimately had an allergic reaction to it. I sat down one night to watch this movie with friends. Yeah, I am not. I sat down to watch this movie, sat in the chair in my house that I always sit in. Halfway through the movie, I start sniffling. By the end of the movie, I am full on crying. My nose is so stuffed up. I feel absolutely awful. Immediately after the movie, I'm like, sorry, guys, I got to go to bed. I go lay in bed. 10 minutes later, I am fine. Totally fine. Nose is cleared up. Eyes are done watering. This movie makes me want to die.
Well, if you would have played some Linkin Park, Optimus Prime could have helped you with the power of monologues.
Yikes.
There's so many things wrong with Age of Extinction. But yeah, we don't have to talk about it. So Alex doesn't have to break out in hives.
Yeah, I would rather not. Another movie that people pitched to me was the Sex and the City movie, because there's a character named Mr. Big. And that's
also in the big city.
They are in the big city. Wow. The Big Apple.
Nice.
Take a bite out of that apple. Yum, yum. Oh, no, a worm.
James and the Giant Peach.
God, love that movie.
I hate that movie with a passion.
Yeah, well, it's because it's that animation that you fucking hate.
It sure is.
Yeah, but I fucking love that movie. I would have defended that to my grave. I love that movie. Some funny ones that people said, Harold and Maude, because of a big age gap. That's pretty damn funny. It made me chuckle. Shout out to you, audience member. We were so negative with other audience members. I feel like I got to shout out some and give them love. You know?
Yeah, because they're really funny.
Mm-hmm. Someone said, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Stuart Little because everything is big for them. And that's pretty adorable.
That's great.
And the big trauma all the kids at the orphanage felt when a rodent was adopted instead of them.
That's still the funniest observation of a movie.
Yeah, that's
like
very good.
The Airbuds of the world where it's like, why did my kid get benched? Well, you see... Yeah.
Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus. Great pick. Love it. Very fun. Easily I could have seen any of us putting that in this bracket.
Yeah.
And it making it to the finals, I'll say it.
Wow.
Someone said a movie that I've never seen before. Everything you always wanted to know about sex but were too afraid to ask, because apparently Woody Allen gets chased by a giant boob. And that's a real sentence, audience, and I don't want to see that movie. I'll say it.
I'll say I'm curious.
I'm going to do some Googling because I interpreted that sentence as Woody Allen.
Who's chasing who?
Is a giant boob. He is chasing the boob. Like, it's a big chase because he's chasing boob. It like the big car scene.
I think
in
the giant
Brothers.
boob is actively chasing him.
It's like It Follows.
Right. It's like the pick that should have been in here, Dude, Where's My Car? Where that woman gets real big.
Oh, Jake, I'm on YouTube right now.
Yep. It's a giant boob.
You were very right.
Him. Damn.
You were very correct.
He is looking intently, audience.
Well, to get to, we only have a couple of other audience honorable mentions, so I'll just throw out one of the ones that I hadn't thought of, but I thought was pretty cool. And this is the same audience member, I believe, as Age of Extinction, and but House Moving Castle.
Big Castle.
Oh.
Big Castle.
Big Castle.
I'm sure it will show up on the show one day in the future. There are a lot of very cool things going on in that film that I think we don't actively recognize.
The castle moves. Did y'all realize that?
Damn, no, that's crazy. I'll have to give it a rewatch and watch for that.
It makes me want to howl. Ow.
I'll murder you in cold blood. Oh, howl.
Cool. Any more honorable mentions? You guys have any ones you want to throw out rapid fire? Any more audience ones?
You know, Dude, Where's My Car? But that's it.
my other two, which I think I've mentioned both during the bracket, but Godzilla, the original one, 1954, and Guomal, The Host.
God, The Host is great.
Yeah, it'll show up one day.
Hey, even the for the first of the Godzillas that was like in the 2010s or whatever.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that movie.
Good.
Did you guys see Suicide Squad? The new one, or the new one? Suicide Squad 2?
I did.
Big Starfish. It could have been. Was it out when this bracket started? I don't think it was.
I think so.
It wasn't when it started.
I don't know. No, not this bracket, but it was when our next bracket started. And I thought about never mind. Be in anticipation for the next bracket.
It would fit our next bracket pretty well.
It would. And the three of us will work together to get to the end of the show to reveal the next bracket, almost as a team, you could say, a team of hosts.
Matt, that was the most heavy-handed hint you could have possibly given.
Audience, if you want to have your honorable mention featured on the show, we check for them on social media. So at Tough Cut Pod, find us there and tell us movies Twitter, Instagram.
Follow us. Sometimes we late night thirst tweet and
about
look forward to that. If you're up late at night and you have no one to tweet intrusive thoughts to, we'll do it for you.
Yeah. DM us and we will maybe tweet verbatim what you say.
Yeah, if you have...
That's a dangerous road to walk on.
If you have jokes that you think we should tweet, send them to us and we will tweet them. Create the content for us. We'll crowdsource our content.
Yeah. Shall we get into the matchup of the day?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
So our finals matchup today, what a journey. We have Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs versus Pacific Rim. Big Food versus Big Robots, Big Monsters, and Big Friendship. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's go, boys.
So, bless you, Jake. There is a discussion that I want to have.
Okay.
In the third act of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, sentient food.
Mm-hmm.
The way the food acts is almost as if it is psychically linked. The pizza breaking apart, flying in an organized formation towards the flying car. The gummy bears all like skydiving, attacking together. The chickens, working like that. There's no verbal communication through any of these. Does that mean that the food is in the drift? Similar to the kaiju in Pacific Rim.
You know what's crazy about what you just said?
Everything?
I had absolutely no idea where it was going the entire time.
Yeah, same. But here we are.
But I'm so happy where it ended. Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing that complicates it. Chicken bread. Because
is Chicken Bread the same as Charlie Day? He drifts with a kaiju.
Holy shit. Wait.
And it teaches him kung fu.
What if the sequel to the sequel should just be Charlie Day doing kung fu, right?
Wait, okay. Chicken Brent learns kung fu from drifting with the chicken. That means that the chicken knew kung fu at some point. Does that mean that the chickens in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, are they the chickens from... Do the chickens in Chicken Run know kung fu? I can't remember. Are those rotisserie chickens the chickens from Chicken Run? Is that their fate?
No, Chicken Run... Yeah, I think that's really sad. 1, 2, great movie. 3, I think they're the chickens from the Legend of Zelda games that get mad at you and swarm you and beat the shit out of you and kill you.
The cuckoos?
The cuckoos. The cacaws. The cacaws.
I just want to see how long you go.
I've been around a lot of chickens.
Did you say you're not around a lot of chickens?
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows.
I'm sorry, you guys are big chicken people already. I'm so sorry.
Big chicken guys.
It's true.
Big chicken.
Big chicken.
You guys are making me hungry, if anything else.
Well, so I'm ready to vote. I don't know about you guys.
Matthew, I'm curious. So you said you rewatched the movie. What did you get from it?
I did. So they attempt to kiss 3 times before the end where they actually kiss. 2 of which are outright rejections from Sam. And then there's the Jello scene where it is reciprocal. So, for what that's worth, I do think that I don't know, like they still equally rub me the wrong way. Like the first one comes, I think, when they're in his lab, and that is like a true outright rejection of like, what are you doing? Jello scene happens, and then the last one is before they're going to fly off to whatever. He tries to kiss her again, which that one reads a little bit more like not understanding the circumstance than it does she doesn't necessarily want to reciprocate. But yeah, no, he is outright rejected somewhat uncomfortably twice in this movie. Yeah, which, you know, is what it is. I do think that, you know, really contributes to my perspective on those two characters and their chemistry. I think it's heavily affected. Like, I understand kind of what, you know, it's going for, but it doesn't hit with me. Specifically because of how hard she curbs him in that first instance.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a problem within the movie, and their writing during that time, like they played it up as like a joke, and like it's not like a joking, like, yeah, like it shouldn't be, and it's like it's harmful in those ways. And I totally can see what you mean. And it's so interesting because with like Pacific Rim, I still feel that they're just like a woman and a man connecting. That's crazy. And then they play up for like a romantic thing in the end, and it just feels like so forced and like uncomfy for me, because I'm like, dude, they could just be friends and it could be okay. And I just think I don't like the trope of just like, oh, there's a bunch of men in this facility or whatever, like, but then a woman comes in and whips us up into shape, and then we could do it. And I understand how it's trying to subvert masculinity in that way.
Well, but there are other women, like, Jaeger pilots
as well. The Russian woman.
But it just, I don't know.
And theirs is explicitly romantic, like they're married.
True. I don't know. It just feels weird to me when I watch it. So sure. I don't know.
Which I get. I think that is a perspective that you're not alone in. I mean, I think we talked about it in the first episode that one of the suggested searches is do Mako and Raleigh get together in the second movie or whatever? And it's like, you're clearly not alone in thinking that this relationship feels kind of pseudo romantic, which I understand. I think I just keep the perspective of like, it is platonic in like the traditional sense, like deeply intimate, but not sexually romantic.
I just wish they would have played that up more, because I do love that. Like, I think it's a great message, especially with the cool concept of the movie of like drifting and like connecting without words, and like I think it's very cool. I just wish it would have been better handled, I guess
less ambiguity.
Yeah,
where there's a scene where Mako goes, he's like, yeah, you know, fuck, I butchered this joke already. I wanted to, where Raleigh's like, wow, we just make such a good team. Like, we're so cute together. We almost, or no, sorry. Fuck! God damn it! It's done. The joke is dead.
No, Matt, you have to say
I really want to hear your
joke,
joke,
wait
please.
To leave in all the attempts of you at telling this joke in the final episode.
Can you please tell your joke? You have to land it now out of fear of him posting it.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So it's the two of them. They've made their way back, a sweet press photo, and Raleigh's like, wow, we almost look like a couple here. And then Mako's like, a couple of besties. Like that fucking tweet. Fuck.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's the most stressed I've ever seen someone deliver a joke in my life. You acted like a gun was pointed to your head and be like, "Give your best joke."
Tell a joke about Pacific Rim right now.
Anyway, what a fucking disaster that bit was.
Who do you think make better villains? The kaiju or the food? Because that one kaiju ran headfirst into the sword. You guys remember that? And I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, they pointed the sword forward and the beast ran right into it.
Do you ever think about...
It looked cool.
Do you ever think about how they used the boat as a sword, but they had a sword?
Yeah.
I think...
It's called recycling.
Yeah. That's a pretty good one. I think that probably like the production team, the animators, or storyboard, whoever wrote that scene just was like, this would be so cool if someone used a ship.
That's literally what this whole movie is this would be so cool if blank happened. Like,
So something, unless people have more comments on this
kaiju versus food.
Yeah, I'm a mess. I'm objectively taking away from the coherency of this episode.
Do you guys think
I love your energy.
The Flimsim defer, if it had gone unchecked and continued to make giant food, do you think the kaiju would still invade Earth if it was infested with food?
Yeah, because the kaiju's whole plan is they just want to terraform Earth to, fit their species needs. Like, they don't care who inhabits it.
Well, what if they realize like they could have a big pizza sent down to them every once in a while and they're like, yeah, we're good.
Ooh, if there's like a sacrificial vote amongst the food of who they're going to send down through the...
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'd watch that movie.
Yeah. Isn't that the plot of that one short film?
Yeah, The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage. It's they have a bunch of bees going, and it's really great.
But the point
remember when we did a Nicolas Cage bracket? Because I remember.
Yeah. And remember when I'm totally going to talk you guys into doing a sequel to it in the future. So one of the things I actually wanted to talk about in regard to Pacific Rim is something that I thought was, I don't know, maybe like a missed opportunity in the writing that struck me as odd. So they established that Raleigh and Stacker Pentecost, who you can only ever say the full name of because of how cool it is, are the only two people to have ever successfully piloted a Jaeger alone.
Yeah.
What I thought that was building up to was going to be in the final confrontation there when the Australian guy and Stacker Pentecost detonate their Jaeger. I was assuming he was just going to life pod the other guy out and then blow it up by himself. And I don't fully understand why he didn't do that.
He said, hey, because dude, I'm so sorry.
The movie explicitly establishes that he can.
Yeah,
exactly. And I just think that struck me as so odd.
He ate his leftovers that day at lunch and he's like, you know what, motherfucker, you're going down with me.
He just hates the Australian kids so much.
And I understand that.
Yeah, I think the reason they don't do it is to redeem the Australian character a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if Idris Elba just sends him away, like this kid's character
what if it was
is so
swapped
fucked.
Then? What if the Australian kid pops him out and then he's now the third person who piloted Jaeger by himself? And then,
which would be pretty cool.
That I think would have been cool.
That this movie struggles with its writing a lot, where sometimes they just say cool shit for the sake of cool shit, but you really think about it, it's like, one, it makes no sense. Like that whole you could beat a hurricane line we talked about before.
Okay, you're really caught up on that one.
I am. No, but two, just there are cooler ways or better ways to handle some of the emotional aspects of this story that I feel like get left out. And that's why it leaves me with something to be desired sometimes.
What other emotional aspects do you think they miss on?
Well, again with the relationship and kind of explaining, I think the drift is such a cool concept that they play off as a cool concept rather than a really diving into the emotional aspect of it,
the implications.
So they do have the whole memory thing, and that's really cool. I would have loved to explore that more. It almost was Paprika-esque, and I thought it was really cool sometimes.
And I think sort of to the credit of that a little bit, one of the coolest scenes is when Mako and Raleigh drift for the first time, and they both kind of lose control of themselves in the drift. And you see Raleigh in her memory, working to bring her back under control. And the, the images of what her stake in all of this is, I think is one of the cooler, not cooler, wrong word. Is a really interesting scene. and reveals a lot about both these characters and helps build that intimacy. So I think that shows that there's a ton that could be explored and maybe a missed opportunity to not go further with some of that.
Yeah, and I think also like with the other teams, I would have loved to explore their emotional depth way more than we got.
Sure.
I want more Charlie Day, but that's just selfishly me. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I just think it's such a good concept, this movie, and watching it just feels like such possibility. And maybe I should watch the sequel and maybe it's good or something. But
or maybe the sequel is so bad that you look at this and you're like, well, they didn't fuck it up.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the things for me that, like, obviously there's a lot in Pacific Rim that is essentially perfectly tailored for what I enjoy. Big robots, big monsters, cool speeches,
fighting hurricanes,
destroying all the monsters.
Nice. And they actually do it in this one.
Yeah, well, they come. Yeah, sort of. Is, I think, comparatively, that Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs misses for me in a lot of ways that, you know, we've also talked about. Like, I didn't feel a lot of the weight of that third act as a result of how much I didn't like some of the relationships between the characters. Like, I talked about in the first time we spoke about this, that Chicken Brent was one of my biggest takeaways of the final act. And it's arguably a pretty minor portion of it.
No, you're absolutely right for that to be your takeaway.
So I don't know. I
think going back again to that final act of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, because I know, Matt, you didn't get a lot from it, but I sure did. The scene where, and maybe this falls flat for you because of the emotional stuff. I'm not. So for me, I don't think their relationship is like a big part of that final act. And the only scene where it really like makes a big impact is the scene when he's lowering down through the peanut brittle. She gets poked. But the scene immediately following that, Chicken Brent running through the cave, kung fuing the other chickens, carrying Sam, like jumping around. The plane is doing all the sick flips. Steve is fighting the gummy bears. All of that like epic scene culminating in them landing in the plane, in the flying car, and Brent going, I don't know, she touched a peanut or something. Peak comedy. Excellent joke. And I just think like that for me is what this movie like is like symbolized by, is these like beautiful little joke moments that go like so under the radar, but I think are so tasty and good.
Nice.
And I don't know, maybe I'm just a bad movie goer, because like I think that, you know, some of those little moments of comedy, I mean, I get a lot of the jokes and those are sort of the high points. It's just kind of like a lot of the other stuff. Like when you're dedicating, because a decent amount of the runtime of the total movie is dedicated to their relationship. And it just, so much of that all misses for me because I'm just left with like such a bad taste about it. And I think that the Bill Hader and Anna Faris have really good like comedic chemistry with each other. Mm-hmm. It's just how the characters are written as people that I really just dislike.
Right.
And that's not to say I dislike their individual characters. I dislike them together in the way they interact romantically.
Bill, if you're listening, please cover your ears. I know this is sensitive.
It's hard for you to hear this, but Barry was really good. I loved Barry.
Yeah, you really emotionally resonate with Barry more than
which maybe that says something about me.
Go watch Barry if you haven't. It's actually a genuinely very good show.
I don't have any more topic of conversation, but I also have no idea which movie I'm voting for still.
I'm very on the fence. I really do like the big like concept of Pacific Rim. I think the writing is much stronger and better in Cloudy. Like you guys were talking about, like what Alex was talking about, like with the jokes and stuff. I think it lands a lot more with what they're trying to do. But I also see Matthew's point about the relationship and how those comedies at that time were weirdly focused on like playing things off that shouldn't be played off as jokes.
So
I don't know.
I really don't. In terms of the writing of Pacific Rim, because we just talked writing in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and you know,
right.
I do think there is witty writing in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and I think that's one of the things the movie excels at. In terms of the writing in Pacific Rim, I think what is done well, I mean, you obviously, I think, disagree a little bit, Jake, but I think some of sort of the characterization, I think Makomori is like we talked about this in the first episode, so I don't want to retread too much of it. But I do think that our principal characters are generally well written. Well acted is maybe a different piece for.
I hate the main character, dude. I think he acts so like if they replaced that man, I think I would have enjoyed this movie 10 times more.
Yeah, I think he's real bad.
Yeah, he's not in the sequel. Isn't it Finn from Star Wars? That's not his actual name.
Yeah,
What's his actual name? John Boyega. I love John Boyega.
He's great.
John Boyega fan.
Disney did him dirty.
Real dirty.
Dirty, slimy boy. Well, he also, I'm not sure what specifically we're referring to. But, he's very outspoken of never wanting to work on another Star Wars project again.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys think, follow me here.
Follow you.
I'm following. Oh, God, another sentence.
Flint Lockwood creates a monkey thought translator.
Yes.
He then creates a machine that psychically, mentally links food.
Right.
That is assuming we're accepting your first premise that the food are in the drift.
Right. Go with it.
Okay.
Right.
Grant you that premise.
In the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs universe, is there a timeline where Flint Lockwood creates the drift technology able to power Jaegers, and Flint Lockwood creates Jaegers? What are the implications of this in the world?
I think you pose a really interesting piece there, because I think the biggest thing it affects is the two scientists in Pacific Rim. All of their knowledge and research are going to be built off of the work of Flint Lockwood instead, who I think carries a sort of similarly eccentric character to his science.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that chaos can either drive them to proper conclusions sooner or to worse,
utter madness.
Yeah, or utter madness.
See, I don't think they create the Jaegers. I think they create the kaiju. And that's actually like the hidden secret of Pacific Rim. If you go into that world under, you'll actually just see
Flint Lockwood.
The lighting in the kaiju world is very much that like golden light, which is utilized heavily in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. That like gold, yellow, like burnt orange with like purples. We could be onto something here.
Could be.
It's a big missed opportunity.
Sure, hit me with it.
Why isn't Cheeseburger in Paradise and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
With that, I think I'm ready to vote.
Yeah, that's
a condemnation. I don't know.
A condemnation.
Is Swallow Falls real?
No.
I don't think so.
So that's actually something I want to talk about. There are two little things. One, the world Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs proposes, their island is on, it's a small island under the A in Atlantic. That implies there is a definitive place in which the Atlantic is on, the Atlantic Ocean. Does that hold a physical presence in the world?
Is Atlantic written in the sky in giant letters?
I don't know. And is that a subtle nod to the audience that this isn't our world, that things are a little bit off here?
Yeah, it's very subtle. It's very subtle.
That is the subtle nod. This is a different world.
Yeah.
Because everything up to that point, I'll say it, I've seen before.
Yeah, spray on shoes. Straight up, my guy, my feet have been covered in this since I was born.
Show us your feet.
Oh no, I sprayed it on my butthole.
Yeah, what would happen then?
What was that voice? What was
you sounded like a carny. That was the voice of Gertie, who sprayed spray-on shoes on his butthole and had to get a big old surgery to create a new hole.
Damn.
Where would you put your new hole if you had to get one?
The grundle.
The grundle. Ooh, I feel like that'd be really painful. Imagine they just use like a hand drill and they're just like,
Oh, see, I don't think that's how the surgery would work, man.
I don't know, man. Things are off in that world. So maybe it is.
You go into a saw
They
trap.
would go underneath the A in Alex written on my body.
You go into a saw trap and you're sitting in a chair, you wake up and you're naked and Jigsaw's like, hey,
Hello.
there's a spray can
Where do you want
pointed
your
directly
new
at your butthole. And if you don't solve my riddle, you will be plugged up.
You have failed to respect the public decency of not having diarrhea in public bathrooms.
Pooped on the seat you pooped on the seat in a porta potty and didn't wipe
You
it
shit
up.
at too many friends' house without asking or clearing out the smell.
And now you will never.
Now, where do you want me to
again.
drill your new poop hole?
It's a seat with a spray can and a drill, and you can either have your you. Jesus
I don't know why this is
Christ.
so funny to me.
Hey, Chris Rock, get in touch with us. We have a good new script for the Saw movies. Okay, that reminds me, not technically, but the other thing I wanted to talk about, Ron Perlman's character, Hannibal Chow.
Thank God.
He, when he sees Charlie Day, immediately is like, oh, holy shit, it's drift sickness or whatever with his like bloody eye. And Chow has his own injured eye. I took that as Chow had also tried to drift with a kaiju.
Yes.
Was that your guys' interpretation?
Yes.
100%.
Are there other interterpretations?
He did some weird shit with his eye once.
I got really bad pink eye. This guy had me in a trap. Said he-
They plugged up my butthole, so I chose my eye as my second hole.
That leads me to my follow-up. If that's the interpretation we're running with, the kaiju drifting, not the
You
pink
drift
eye,
the kaiju? This is my poop hole.
and it's, it's very, very clear that the kaiju, at least albeit briefly, are after Charlie Day because, drifting with him, they now know him intimately. And, Hannibal Chow's like, I can't do public shelters, whatever, etc. What knowledge did the kaiju pull from Hannibal Chow? Like they because they pulled knowledge from Charlie Day's character. So what did they learn from Hannibal Chow, and like what were those implications on the universe?
I mean,
What if
Charlie
that's how
Day
they originally started the wall thing?
Well, Charlie Day was though involved in the kaiju fighting effort. Hannibal Chow was just some fucking guy who is rich
Right,
and
they
collects
probably
a bunch
just saw
of things.
him jerking
You
off
see
or
a
something.
lot of masturbation, a lot of
but
orgies.
Chow also clearly has knowledge of the Jaegers, albeit that may just be because they're a cultural sensation.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder if there was meant to be a bigger reference that was supposed to play.
Another thing that
but I'm not going to fault the movie for that one because I think it's albeit very minor and it's more additional world building, but I think it's an interesting
been
premise.
Very cool.
Was there a kaiju that had sharp things that could cut things? Was that one of the kaiju?
No, you're thinking of Big Man Japan again.
And maybe that baby kaiju that swallowed Hannibal Chow wasn't trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Simply wanted
give him a big
to
kiss.
mother him.
Oh.
Yeah, or that.
Big
little
kiss.
breastfeeding.
But Hannibal Chow feeds from the baby's breast.
Right.
Imagine Ron Perlman just being cradled in the arms of a
suckling at the
monster.
teat of a giant monster.
It would be like Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
in the one Star Wars movie when he
squeezes that green bit. Yeah.
Well,
just gets the milk straight out.
Hannibal Chow's, Ron Perlman's giant jaw, I think it could fit around the teat of a huge monster.
Yeah. He'd be suckling and he'd be like, you ever heard of my poop hole? You want to see my new poop hole?
It's right on my grundle.
Oh no, you got milk in my poop hole.
Oh
boy.
And yeah, go for it, Jake.
No, your and is better than what I got.
No, it's not.
Well, now I have to
Cut
hear
your
both
head.
of them.
What's your best joke about Pacific Rim?
It's one of my darkest moments.
I think, we should do it. I don't know what I'm voting for. I kind of want to go last, but we should do it.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I know. I know.
Jake, are you leaning in any which way?
No, I'm pretty.
Because neither am I.
The impassioned creativity of Del Toro just hits me.
Yeah.
So close to heart. It is a movie that is so filled with passion and love for the genre of big stuff fights big stuff. And I don't know, man. I love that.
Okay.
Also, we see a handful of shirtless boys in Pacific Rim, and they're pretty buff.
Okay. I wouldn't frame them as shirtless boys.
Grown men.
Which of these movies does big better, Jake?
Pacific Rim.
Matt?
Pacific Rim.
Okay, I'm ready to vote.
I can go first.
Please do.
If it wasn't obvious already, am voting for Pacific Rim.
Me too. It does big better.
And you know what? Actually, I'm gonna also vote for Pacific Rim. Yeah,
wow.
And it's because of kind of what Matthew was talking about, and I know that I've expressed a lot of questions about Pacific Rim and critiques.
You just want it to be so much more.
But I want it to be so much more, and I think the concept is so awesome, and Del Toro did impassioned do this, and so I think there's a lot of potential in a movie, and I can applaud it for that. So Pacific Rim. Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. A unanimous final.
We haven't had a unanimous final in a long time.
Nice. Okay. Well, with that, the winner of our big bracket is Pacific Rim.
Wow.
Congrats, Del Toro. You won an award.
We'll
won a
mail it
toughie.
to you. And in the death match where we invite the directors of all of the winners of the first 8 brackets, I wish you well. May the odds forever be in your favor, I think is what they say in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening with us, but we have something to announce. And what's that? Our next theme.
That's right.
Our new bracket.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's the Avengers bracket. No, I'm fucking around. It's team movies. I hope you remembered my hand-fisted a sneaky little reference, because it's a ham-fisted reveal too. Just like a bunch of ham-fisted movies we're going to have in this bracket.
That's right. So we've got some great movies, great matchups coming for you guys next week. In our first episode, we've got the original Ghostbusters versus the Fellowship of the Ring, the Lord of the Rings. In our second matchup, we've got Fast 5 versus the 2010 A-Team.
Hell yeah.
And in our second episode, we've got Galaxy Quest versus Seven Samurai and Power Rangers versus the Guardians of the Galaxy. This, surprisingly, space-heavy bracket.
Dude.
But it's going to be real good.
In space, no one can hear you, team.
Have you had that one teed up all episode?
No, I just thought of it, and that's why I'm so
that
happy.
Is genius.
That's so good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so
excited for that one. We're going to be talking about teams and what makes a good team.
Wait, all of our space movies are in the second half of the bracket. So we have metal, space and then heavy space.
Yeah, Seven
Samurai. You should have done the Fast and Furious movie where they go to space.
What? I'm sure they will eventually.
It's the latest one. They go to space. I shit you not. That's real.
Oh my god.
No, that's real. 100%
Fast 9.
Real.
Can't wait to see it.
There's so many Fast and Furious movies.
And one day, maybe we'll do a Fast and Furious bracket.
Hell yeah. Well, much love, y'all. Again, follow us on socials. Give us a little review if you enjoyed what you heard or what you've been hearing. We've been doing this for a hot minute now, so we hope you guys are enjoying.
Episode 30.
Wow.
That's
right.
Crazy.
Wow.
Well, we hope you like the show. And if you didn't,
get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Gun to your head. Best joke. Pacific Rim. Go,
that tweet.